Hello, everybody. Welcome to Nerdy Neighbors. I am one of your hosts, Vince, and joining me is the Matthew Broderick to my Godzilla.
All right. Let's bring down these big old monsters. Oh, wait, that's not Matthew Broderick.
You was McConaughey.
Okay. I got Matthew Broderick.
Yep. We'll redo it. I'll cut all this out.
Nope, leave it in.
I am absolutely not cutting it out.
All right, I got Matthew Broderick. All right. You know what makes today a day? I don't believe in isms. I believe in Godzillas. How about that?
Solid. That was really good.
All right.
I think that'll come across.
I was trying to... I know he's always talking to the mic. I was trying to... Hi, guys. I'm Zach.
This is a podcast that us two nerdy neighbors do where we talk about pop culture in ways that it interests us, varying degrees of zeitgeist, kill your darlings, all that fun stuff.
Yeah, and I'm just now connecting Godzilla and Matthew Broderick, by the way.
Oh, really?
While you were talking, I was going, why would it be Matthew Broderick? Oh, right.
Yeah, it's Popolopolis.
Oh, boy. My brain doesn't acknowledge that movie.
Yeah, that's really tough.
It's got that cool French guy in it.
It does.
All right.
The professional.
We start every week with news. I actually have news this week, so I'm going to start off. I'll start off with my lightest piece of news. The Jessica Jones teaser dropped.
Yeah.
Did you see it?
I saw that it dropped. I haven't looked at it yet.
There's not much to gain from it. I don't know. I can't tell who the bad guy's going to be.
I mean, I don't... Like, I've read through the Alias stuff, and I don't know who they would pick. Like, the fact that they used the Purple Man that soon is really crazy. Maybe, like, there's the Purple Children?
Well...
But that seems, like, really hokey.
I always feel like you could bring back a Purple Man somehow. Yeah. I believe in it.
Well, I mean, they did it for season 2 where he, like, haunted her.
Well, when he got really powerful in season 1 and he didn't turn purple, I was bummed. Like, there was a point in season 1 where his powers are amplified, and I was like, oh, here we go, purple skin!
Womp womp.
Yeah, Jessica Jones. I'm not super stoked, but I will check it out.
Yeah. I wonder if they're going to give finality to the Netflix stuff.
I hope that they do.
Yeah,
I hope they take this opportunity.
Yeah, and just, like, close it out.
Yeah. But, I mean, whatever they've shot. She is very pregnant right now.
Yeah.
So, what do you got?
So, Tom King, writer of Mr. Miracle, The Vision, the very popular Vision comic, and then Sanctuary.
Actually, I'm not. What Vision comic?
The one where he lives like a Stepford-style suburban life.
Like The Vision from
The
Marvel?
Vision. Yeah.
Oh, I'm not familiar with that.
Oh, it's a really good run. Yeah, it was a couple years ago, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe 2014.
Do you know if it's like OG Vision or is it like Kid Vision? Or
no,
like...
it's regular. It's man Vision, and he has a robot family. And it's like really thematic and I don't know. Did you read the Flintstones comics that have been coming out recently, where it's like super existential and?
No, that's interesting.
Oh my god, you'd love it.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like it's done in that sense. It's a superhero.
Is it a Flintstones comic where instead of a bird turning to you and going, "It's a living," it turns to you and goes, "Why does society work this way? We are stuck in this industrial complex where I am a cog and I mean nothing to society, but I'm a living, breathing thing with dreams and hopes, and you guys are using me as a garbage disposal." That kind of thing.
There's an actual comic where that is the scenario. It's the furniture animals.
Choo choo. That sounds like my train, Vince.
Yeah. I think you'd be on board. What's your other piece of news?
Oh, my other piece of news.
I should tell you that Tom King has joined the New Gods movie. Left that part out.
I didn't know that was even a thing.
Yeah, they were.
What?
It was slotted. It was in the list that we yada yada'd over.
You mean the Eternals?
No, DC's The New Gods.
I didn't see that on the list. How was that? That list was only Marvel movies that we looked at.
No, we looked at DC movies that were in...
Oh,
gosh,
that's
like
right. That was so many episodes ago, my God. Wow.
We have lore now.
That was part of my... No Effing Way, I believe.
Yeah.
I think that was in the category of There's
I
No
think
Way.
that's where it fell.
Yeah. Well, sheesh, neat. I mean, I'm sticking to my guns on, like, well, people attached doesn't mean anything.
Right.
We saw Nicolas Cage in a Superman suit, and that went nowhere. But, I mean...
Except my hearts and dreams. said hearts.
Well,
in the multiple hearts I keep in my refrigerator.
Well, you're a Time Lord.
Yeah.
All right, so I'll go to my... All right, so Amazon is slated to start production on their Lord of the Rings series.
Yep.
They're saying it's going to... what nerds are kicking around, the rumor mill, is that it takes place during the Second Age. Do you know what that means?
Nothing.
As far as... Okay. So the Second Age is kind of like the Age of Heroes or like the Count of Camelot times.
Okay.
It's when the most people are kind of active and are like are kind of some of the greatest heroes that will be living in Middle Earth are around like the Kingdom of Numenor, where with the people who live longer and stuff, the kind of people who are touched by God.
Yeah.
They're still, you know,
so it's like an Age of Heroes type thing.
Precisely.
Okay.
So that will be neat. J.D. Payne and Patrick McKay are the showrunners. Those guys are from oh gosh, we know these guys from all right, I'll get to them later. But a Game of Thrones writer, Brian Cogman is attached, and he's a guy who has written some of the good episodes. One of my favorites from season 8, the second episode of season 8.
Yeah.
He wrote Broken Bastards. Bastards something and Broken Things. Cripples, Bastards, and Broken Things, yes. Which is like the 4th or 5th episode of the first season. It's a really good episode.
It is a really good episode.
He's got a good CV. I have hopes for this.
All right.
The Second Age feels like hubris.
Yeah.
It feels like an overzealous thing to take on. It would depend on what they focus on. And I'll be curious to what they do about the Gandalf of it all. Now, Ian McKellen, when reached for... Ian McKellen is like, look, Gandalf's 3,000 years old, so if you ask me, I haven't aged out of it yet.
I agree. I 100% agree.
He's like, no one's approached me, so I haven't said no to anything yet.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
My second piece of news, the Russos are developing a Magic the Gathering series for Netflix.
Yeah.
I'm stoked.
That's a blind spot for me.
No, it's not for me. I've sunk so much fucking money into that. Gosh dang hobby. Oh my goodness.
Really?
Oh yeah.
So does that have legs as a show?
Yeah. The lore of Magic the Gathering is ridiculous. Yeah, it's out there bonkers.
I'd be curious to see how it shakes out.
There's sky pirates. There are regular pirates. There are vampire conquistadors.
I like sky pirates. I like Tailspin.
Yeah.
Tailspin.
Solid.
Yeah.
What's your last piece of news?
My last piece of news, you'll have to bear with me a little bit. My last piece of news is that the X-Men Steel Collection dropped. Now that, Vince, if you're wondering what the X-Men Steel Collection is...
it's obviously the crossover that they do with DC Steel.
You wish. Wake up. It's not one of your wet dreams, Vince. This is our show in reality. The Steel Book is what it's called, excuse me, and it is the X-Men Trilogy. Right? So for some reason, this is a thing.
Right.
That people are advertising like they're not embarrassed.
Okay.
So for the first time ever, you can buy all
the first 3 movies.
Yes.
Okay. I thought this was a comics thing.
In one collection. No, this is not a comics thing.
Okay.
This is a thing I saw
book,
today.
They mean the container.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is a thing I saw today that really entertained me.
Yeah.
Because it was like, talk about water out of a stone.
Yeah, that's unapologetic, honestly.
That's the end of my news. Hey, kids, if you have just piles of money that you've been burning, take $27 of it and get yourself an X-Men Steelbook collection.
All right, so I got one more big piece of news. So the DCEU is splitting into 2 separate universes.
A fun one, and the one for us and the one for who knows.
Exactly. So the first universe is going to continue some of the stories that have been told, like Suicide Squad, Wonder Woman, Birds of Prey will probably take place in that universe. And then the new universe is going to be, it looks like The Batman is the movie that's set to sort of kick it off. So,
will it be canonical with the Joker movie?
No, the Joker movie is taking place in its own.
We should talk about that Batman movie real quick, because some casting has occurred.
Yeah, go for it.
Despite petitions.
Yeah, Robert Pattinson is your new Batman.
Yeah. He's our new Batman.
Yeah.
I
thought it was obvious that he was mine.
I won't speak for you, but I'm like, it filled me with joy.
Same.
This filled me with the same kind of joy that it was a little bit less than James Gunn coming back to Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
Because it's like, no, F you, we're going to be creative and
we're going to do what we want.
Yeah. Just as much as people like me had to put up with a Zack Snyder movie.
Right. Exactly. Everybody else has to put up with the Robert Pattinson Batman.
Yep.
I dig it.
Put that in your pipe and smoke it, you twine nerds.
Also, apparently in this new Batman movie, they're supposed to be sowing the seeds of a new Superman. A new Michael B. Jordan-esque Superman.
Michael B. Jordan. No, yeah, I would love a Michael B. Jordan Superman.
Same. But that is it for the news that I have.
That's all I have as well.
Okay. Zach, we hurt ourselves today.
Just to see if we could still bleed.
Yeah. We watched Marvel's Inhumans. Or at least some of it.
Oh, it's to see if I still feel. Anyways. Well, some madman suggested it.
I try to focus on the pain because it's the only thing that's real. Yeah.
I can't believe we did this. But we didn't, let's not act like we climbed Mount Everest.
No, we did not.
Yeah.
We each got 3 episodes.
Try as we might. Yeah. We saw the top, and both of us went,
we could not do this. I was scrambling up until maybe 15 minutes ago of trying to think of maybe a new topic we could talk about.
Oh, wow, really?
No, absolutely not.
Oh, I had the thought yesterday. Because yesterday I was going to try to squeeze in some more.
Right.
And then I just felt guilty at the end of the night. It was like, I didn't. I
was going to do that at work today. I'd planned on watching 2 more episodes at work, and I was like, or you could watch Good Omens.
Okay, see, I'm saving Good Omens. Like, I'm only 3 in on Good Omens. We got to talk about that too.
I agree.
But I my rules with things like this is I do first and last. If I'm pretty sure it's going to be a Mount Everest type situation,
yep.
I at least get first and last under my belt. And I don't know about you, but I'm just culturally aware of how terrible this was.
Same.
I didn't even check in because I wasn't overly curious. Now, should we talk about, before we talk about the show?
Yeah.
Should we talk about like the kind of the anatomy, or like rather like what led to it? Because
sure.
What I recall was at first this was going to be a film.
This was going to be a film at first.
When we were
One
in
of the
our
names tossed around, Vin Diesel as Black Bolt.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
I do. I remember getting really excited for it and then it just flopping.
So like around phase 2 or maybe towards the end of phase 1, we were getting all kinds of, kind of stuff that we were talking about 2 weeks ago of like, oh, maybe it'll be Captain Marvel Annihilation and this and that and the third. And Inhumans was definitely being kicked around as a film. Now, before we talk about the product that we were given, why do you think it didn't end up being a movie?
So I think, like, there was that period of time where Marvel was no longer running X-Men because they didn't own the rights to it.
Yeah.
So, like, free advertising. I think that Marvel was kind of in a hurry to put out Inhumans because I think it was being rumored around the same time that Fan 4 Stick was, the Just Trank version. So you put that out there, you see that version just fail because of studio interference. And then you realize, okay, well, maybe we can reassess this and maybe Moon people aren't what people are going to gravitate to.
Right.
So from there, you sort of transition into an ABC property, let them take over for a bit. I mean, it was weird that they shot, I think it was the first 2 episodes were shot on IMAX.
Right.
Which is why they had a studio release for the first 2 episodes.
Yeah.
So honestly, I think it might have been like a culmination of things, but I think Fantastic Four failing, that might have also been around the time of like the Wolverine, maybe?
No?
Wolverine
was way before that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, even still.
I shouldn't say way before, but I think 5 years.
Okay.
4 or 5 years.
That's a hefty enough.
Mm-hmm.
I think that, I think it was just a lack of
I think, and this is such a dart against the board thing, so I beg your indulgence.
Sure.
But I think Kevin Feige is a shrewd businessman. And I think for better or for worse, whether he actually knows a good script or whether he has people around him who knows a good script, I truly believe they never saw a good script.
Yeah, I could also believe that.
I think the solution to them was like, this needs to be... I think from a marketing point of view, they went, this might be able to be our Game of Thrones.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah. So I think it just went, you know what?
It's weird because it went about it so weirdly.
But don't you feel that skeletal
totally
structure?
do.
But like, it's like watching them like build like a mutant.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, it's like you're getting it all wrong.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, we'll wait for the show. We'll wait for the show. I don't want to get into that yet.
Well, then let's get into it proper.
Well, I just want to finish my my last thing of like my final thought is: is there a part of you that wishes we got a film instead? Like if this never happened, and they didn't approach it the same way. Let's just wipe. Like I Men in Black.
You're asking me if I would still want an Inhumans movie if it was different.
Yeah, or do you have an Inhumans kind of story in you that you were like, you know what they should have done?
I liked the story that they started. They just didn't do anything.
Right.
There's nothing to it. Like, I love the idea of, okay, there's this ruling power. It's this Black Panther story. There's this ruling power, somebody who's connected to it doesn't agree with the way it's laid out, and he has justification behind him. Well, but, it takes the royal family developing and changing, like characters do. Like, I think that story has legs to it.
Well, okay. That leads me into my final question before we get into this television show is how familiar are you with the comic? What have you read? Like, Nothing. Even like during like Civil War, any of the crossovers, any of that stuff, like when they really brought the Inhumans back, or House of M, or anything like that.
Nothing. The most contact I have with Black Bolt is his appearance in Old Man Logan.
Oh, Old Man Logan, of course. Yeah. Emma Frost's husband.
Yes.
Right.
Blows the Venom symbiote off a T-Rex.
I'm slightly the flip side of that coin. I don't know that much. I know a lot of retroactive stuff about the Inhumans because it's really easy to take a deep dive on that type of crap.
Right.
Like in certain Marvel encyclopedias, and you can get those omnibus things where you can see their first appearance in Fantastic Four. But also like just more recent stuff from Civil War on, or really from Decimation on.
Okay.
I'm very familiar with modern, basically up until 7 years ago. I'm pretty familiar with the Inhuman lineage, and those characters and who they are, and also like just from the 90s and stuff, because Crystal was married to Quicksilver.
Okay.
And they were Avengers for a little bit, as well as being an X-Factor.
30 years of last episode's to be believed.
Yeah, Quicksilver and Wanda joined in like 1969-ish, and like you could say they stopped being Avengers officially during Avengers Disassembled, which was 2003. Anywho, so I have, especially with Crystal, I have some kind of like familiarity with that character, certain expectations,
right?
With Black Bolt and the royal family, as it were, like I have similar expectations. Those characters are way more like caricatures. Like,
yes.
I love that you brought up like some change and stuff like that. Those characters don't change. Yeah, that's their whole deal.
Yeah.
So let's talk about this TV show.
Yes. Marvel's Inhumans, ABC's Marvel's Inhumans.
Why don't you set the table? Let's talk about episode 1.
Okay. So, episode 1. Man, I don't want to talk about this show. Okay.
You don't? Because this was your idea.
I know. I bring bad things upon myself.
Well, I think this is worth talking about because, especially in a post-Endgame thing, I mean, it's worth looking at the blemishes.
Yeah. Okay. So, the episode begins with a ceremony that's pretty common on Atalan and on the moon, which is the Terrigenesis.
Yes.
Which you're put into a Terrigen chamber. You have crystals that are evaporated.
Let's stop you right here.
Sure.
Don't forget where you are. It's a cheapy-peepy warehouse set. It doesn't look good.
I want to talk about this set, like, in depth.
Let's talk about it.
Okay. All right. So,
it looks terrible.
Do you know what Brutal-ism is?
No.
Okay, so it's an architecture term, and it's meant to it's meant to show off like cold or maybe even warm concrete, like just a stony visage.
Okay.
It's very popular in like countries like Russia that have like this sort of, they have this overbearing feel.
Right.
This fucking show was trying to do brutalism in like an optimistic story.
Right.
They're okay. So I get that not everybody off the street's going to know, like, hey, you know, these are the ins and outs of brutalism, and this is why having concrete structures doesn't invoke empathy or whatever.
Right.
But that show had to go through enough development where a set designer was called, hired, created a product, was delivered that product, somebody looked it over and was like, perfect.
Right. Well, okay.
Also, the throne doesn't make any sense because it doesn't have a back to it.
Beyond the brutalism of it, it looks very cheapy-peepy, and it doesn't look like, maybe it is the brutalism of it. It doesn't invoke in me any kind of sense of like what this culture is.
Exactly. Like it's just blank. There's nothing.
Yeah.
Which maybe ties into the culture of the moon because there's fucking nothing there. Like they have weird Zen gardens with rocks, but there's no color anywhere.
It bummed me out that they were immediately on the moon. You know, in original Inhuman, and of course, Kill Your Darlings, but like, you know, they were like, they're in this mountain called Wundagore, which is in like, you know, made up Eastern European kind of area, and it's impossible to get to. And like, you know, of course the Fantastic Four get there and blah blah blah. Like there was no reason to already have them on the moon. Like there is such great potential here for a story where they decide they can't stay on Earth and have to go to the moon.
They have to get to Hawaii though. So I don't know what your plan was. But
that's the thing about that set is it's either Atlanta or Hawaii, but like it was bad. It was amateur hour.
Okay, so the episode begins with Terrigenesis. We have two siblings. I guess they're twins or brother and sister, whatever, doesn't matter. They get put into two separate Terrigenesis chambers, which are just phone booths painted different. Mm-hmm. And when they come out, the sister has grown butterfly wings and is heralded as a flyer. And people say that they love flyers.
Yeah.
And then the boy doesn't appear to have had a mutation. So they're trying to sort of figure out what's going on. And they say it takes
time. And now we're learning something about the culture.
Yeah. No, you're not. Nothing. No, you do learn something about Terrigenesis and the culture, but you learn it a little bit later on. So the only decent acting job in this show, is it Ewan Rehan?
Yeah.
The guy who plays
it's
Bolt,
Ewing.
Ramsay Bolt.
Yeah.
So and he goes over and and
he plays Maximus.
Yes, he plays Maximus the Mad, who is significantly less mad in this version as well. But regardless.
Kill Your Darlings, I guess?
Yeah, I guess. But he also doesn't
interesting part of this character.
He doesn't have his power either. Whatever.
Yes.
Yeah, like, that's a big part of his character. Whatever.
Yeah.
So, Maximus the Mad goes over, and at this point, he has already had his Terrigenesis and has been found to have lost his humanity and instead replacing it with humanity. He is no longer an inhuman, he is just a human.
Yeah. So
that's a thing.
What a crap mutation that is.
So, you know, I get that part of that character going over.
You do? Because I don't feel like it's that well explained.
No. Not that. I mean, his interaction with the kid who hasn't experienced a mutation.
Yeah.
Like, him going over and comforting him and being like, listen, sometimes it takes time to develop. You know? And then he touches the kid has a seizure, and then when he wakes up, he tells him a prophecy. To Maximus.
Gotta love a prophecy in the first 10 minutes of a show.
Really good storytelling.
Yep.
Not trite and corny, but
definitely not a bait and hook.
Solid.
Yep.
Solid. Okay. After this, stuff happens. The show actually opens with an Inhuman running through a jungle and being shot at.
Yeah.
And then the Inhuman Triton who is a green fish man.
He's a fish man.
Yeah.
He's a fishman.
Who is trying to help this Inhuman girl. He gets shot and jumps into water, which means that he's not dead.
He's got a rad fin on his head that also looks like a mohawk. Deal with it.
Facts. He looks like Yondu from the comics almost. A little bit.
Yeah, but it's not good makeup.
No.
It's not great.
No. And he has gills. Never mind. So.
Well, that's true.
Yeah, that's a nitpick.
Yeah.
Okay, so after the Terrigenesis thing, the royal family, which consists of Black Bolt, Blackagar Boltagon,
hey man,
he's the king.
King Black Bolt, that's what they wrote.
Queen Medusa, Maximus the Mad, his head of security, Gorgon. Mm-hmm. Yep, and then what's his name? K something, Karnak. Karnak, who is
not related to the Johnny Carson character.
Correct.
Yeah,
yes.
If you're picturing an old man with
legally distinct. So they're all meeting in a room, and they are made aware that Triton has died while on his mission to Earth.
Quote unquote.
Oh my goodness!
Don't count Triton out yet, folks. I watched the last episode.
Oh, spoiler alert.
Well, okay. The thing is, let's just talk about it's not even just that it's like let's
actually talk about what we don't like in the episode because I can't go through this. It's boring.
Well, I kept being hung up on the lackluster performances. Truly,
everything felt phoned in.
Yeah,
the culture of Adelan, which is only made important when Maximus is on screen, is that if you are born with a mutation that makes you ugly, you go to the mines and mine forever, mine Terrigen crystals. And if you get wings, you're good.
Yeah.
That's it.
Which is, if you're going to pick from the buffet of Inhuman stuff, like they picked the strangest things to try to build a substantive kind of narrative on.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's stuff there, but it's like, that doesn't really happen in the comics. There are like these mutations that happen, but it's not even... Look, actually, I don't want to get bogged down into that. But like, just by doing that, by doing this whole like, oh, there's a second-class citizen that's like a second-class citizen because they don't look...
Yeah.
Was such a weird, not Inhuman thing.
Yeah, it was like a political punch in the face.
But like, if you're going to be true to the book, like, they're in the vein of the mutants. Yeah. Like they kind of embrace differences.
Okay. So what else do I want to talk about? Okay, so I want to talk about how they failed a really cool idea. So the main antagonist of this show is Maximus the Mad.
Mm-hmm.
He wants to create equality amongst Inhumans. Antagonist wants to create equality amongst Inhumans. He wants to expand their city because they're overrunning themselves, and he wants to go back to Earth. They reference going back, so in case I want to get started on that prequel series, that's an option. So he is being opposed by the royal family, whose reason behind it is, nah, we good.
Yeah, there's no reason to change. Like, so as far as like an inciting incident, for our protagonists, it's basically the antagonist saying, hey, I see a lot of injustice and we should do something about it. And our protagonist going, no, let's remain with the status quo. In fact, we will fight you to keep the status quo intact.
Yes,
because that is balance.
Yeah. It's such a wasted premise. Like, it's so good. There's so much you could do with it. You have him build up a civil war. You have him revolt.
I don't know who is worse. I think the gentleman who's playing Black Bolt gets away with a lot because he doesn't actually ever have to say anything.
Yeah, in case you're listening to this and you don't know Black Bolt's powers, his voice can destroy a mountain.
Even a whisper.
A whisper could destroy a mountain. A shout could destroy a planet. He can also fly sometimes. Not this time, though.
Well, yeah, in the comics, that's a whole different deal.
Yeah.
This show broke me down. Okay, so I don't know who's doing the worst acting. I genuinely think it might be Medusa.
Yeah, Medusa's character, nothing about that performance
but
made it seem like the actress wanted to be there.
Well, I don't think anyone wanted to be there because the gentlemen who were playing Karnak and Gorgon were also doing the exact same thing, which is just sort of saying their lines.
Yeah.
The guy who's playing Karnak is from Rush Hour. I always remember that guy. He's the blonde guy from Rush Hour.
Yeah. How did you like was it the end of the first episode where Gorgon shouts Triton into the ocean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Really good.
Rad.
Solid.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. It's so bad. It's so bad.
So, do you want to jump to the ending? You want me to tell you
how
it ends?
Yes.
So please. It ends, not that, it's funny that you brought up Black Panther, because in a very Black Panther-y way, the royal family end up on Earth. Maximus has landed Atalan there, and he's wired it to blow, which is going to send a message to the humans, and they're going to conquer them all. And now the royal family has to fight back, not just Maximus, but all of Atalan, because they've all drank the Maximus Kool-Aid.
Right.
I couldn't tell from the last episode whether or not, like, his mind-controlling powers are an aspect of this. If they were not playing that up in the last episode.
Okay. Gotcha.
There is one cool part where he explains that Atalan's wired to blow to the royal family unless he, puts his hand on this thing, and Maximus says to Triton, cut his hand off, and Maximus is like, no, if there's no pulse, it doesn't work. And I thought that was kind of cool.
That's pretty cool.
Because, Maximus points at Triton and goes, excuse me, folks, I'm pointing at my wrist and then slicing down on it. Which he does immediately when he's like, Maximus is like, it needs my palm print, brother. Love that guy's American accent.
Was it American?
Yeah, because he was talking like this. This is how some British people do an American accent.
I think it was just Moon Talk, man.
No. I don't think that was Moon Talk.
Atlanese.
Should I do that for the rest of the episode?
Absolutely not. If you continue to remind me that I requested that we do this, I will be so
and it ends up with like a standoff where the royal family, including Medusa, do this kind of like it looks very cheapy-peepy. It was shot in Southern California or Atlanta, maybe on a college campus.
Okay.
In what looks like a stone-made assembly hall. And Atalan chooses the royal family.
Why?
Something about war and killing humans and how they're not that different after all, and that royal family had it wrong. Maximus was slightly right, but he wasn't right about having to rule them. They need to blend in, and that's how it ends, is they have to go out and blend in, and Atalan isn't a place.
Yeah, but what about the dude who has drills for hands?
Well, they also, Gorgon double Terrigan miss, so he comes out and he's got hoofs and he's hairier and he's stronger, and that helps them win the fight. So the royal family, I actually forget. Gosh darn it, the royal family doesn't go blend in. There's kind of like
decide to stay in Atalan.
Well, they not so much. I think they go to some castle in a mountain.
Oh,
I think.
Weird.
It wasn't that clear. You could tell they didn't think they were going to have a second season.
Yeah. Jesus Christ, this show was real bad.
I was so distracted, honestly, by the quality. Because when I think of Marvel products, like the Netflix products I got, even the not as good ones looked great.
Yeah,
and
Runaways.
Were clearly, well, I would say that Runaways is far better than this.
Yeah, I agree. That's what I'm saying. It's like even on a limited budget, they made something look wonderful. I think the thing that bothers me most about Inhumans is it feels like the world was created yesterday.
Right.
There's nothing to show that people live in Atalan. Why would Medusa not have a nickname for Black Bolt?
Right.
Two different words?
She doesn't. She
even still, when she's dating Johnny Storm, she calls him Johnny.
Medusa?
Yeah.
Medusa doesn't date Johnny Storm.
Yeah, she does.
When?
In a recent-ish comic. A couple years ago. Huh. Yeah, because there's a scene where Black Bolt goes to talk to Johnny, and they have like
Medusa, not Crystal.
Medusa.
Huh.
Yes. Weird prehensile hair.
That's just weird, man.
It is weird.
Yeah. Johnny Storm used to date Crystal, her niece.
Weird.
That's how they met the Inhumans. Yeah.
Very nice.
That's why I'm hung up on it. It's like, really?
Yeah.
Oh, well, you write shit for 50 years, you're going to run out of stuff to write. I mean, we were...
Shout out to Claremont.
We were... come at me, Claremont. This was a bad idea.
Yeah, so
I mean, but also,
two huge recommendations.
I think, just closing thoughts, I really think from top to bottom, it just feels like a product. And
it feels like a cash grab.
It feels like a product, yeah. And not like in any way something artistic was occurring. And as a result, there's this really plain, flat, terrible product rolling around out there. It's kind of hard to find, too.
Yeah, it's not the easiest thing.
Yeah, I thought it would be on Hulu or something.
Same. I checked every streaming site I could find. And then I found it.
I got around it, yeah.
Yeah.
So, you guys probably shouldn't watch Inhumans if you haven't heard.
Yeah. Yeah.
My biggest thing, honestly, was that it looked like crap. Just the sets, the wardrobe, and honestly, just the quality of the footage. It was not it wasn't a dynamic way to shoot it. It was so plain.
Yeah,
you see
and you could also
bodies.
see like the IMAX shots. It felt like they took stuff out of Planet Earth.
It was
like that was the IMAX that they shot.
Yeah, I was good on that. No, that was the thing that was distracting me the most, and the performances were just not great. Just felt like nobody wanted to be there.
They've referenced our culture, but Black Bolt doesn't know he has to pay for shit.
That's fun. Yeah, don't look at me like that.
But then Medusa goes to an ATM and says she needs money.
But also, there's no currency in Adelan. They just kind of trade.
Right, but if she knows... Well, there's no currency because
I guess the joke is that
family.
He's always been a prince, and maybe she's had to use money at some point in her life. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either, and it's
because like we can't sit here and talk about it, like nobody cared.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
it has to be our takeaway: is don't watch Inhumans. The people who made it didn't care.
Yeah, they made it hard to find for a reason.
Yeah, there's no care in it. If you really want to torture yourself, watch the last season of Iron Fist.
This is so much worse than Suicide Squad.
Yeah, it's worse than Suicide Squad.
Yes,
Suicide Squad is more watchable than Inhumans. You heard it here.
Yeah, our brave take. All right, Zach, we have to talk about something else.
All right, let's clean the palate. Do you want to talk about? You want to do nerdy things we did this week? You want to do homework?
We can do nerdy things. Okay. I don't have that much to talk about.
I don't have that much. I'll be curious if some of mine count.
Well, by all means, rattle them off.
Well, I watched half of the third episode of Castlevania.
Okay.
And the same thing happened to me again. I was like, this is so dark and everything's red.
Yeah.
I read that second X-Men book that I suggested to you.
Yeah. I saw it in my list.
It was good. I've read it before. I figured out what X-Men book I'm gonna recommend to you that you're gonna like.
Okay.
It's not gonna be your homework this week.
I really hope I like it.
Yeah, it's not gonna be your homework this week. I'm gonna give that some air. I started watching Sopranos again.
I noticed it was on when it came up.
Yeah. Because that's not a bad show.
You're right. You are wholly correct.
Every 3 to 4 years, I will come back to Sopranos, and I probably will get bored halfway through this. But right now, I'm watching Sopranos again, and I want to get around to seeing Endgame again. I guess and I'm playing a lot of Battlefront. Mm-hmm. Yeah, not a lot, but when I can.
Gotcha. Yeah, squeezing in a game every once in a while. I get it. So nerdy things I did this week. Well, the past 2 weeks have been banner years for wrestling. So professional wrestling is undergoing a renaissance right now. Because there formerly was one major promotion that everybody thinks about when they think of wrestling. Think WWE.
Right.
Over the past couple years, other smaller promotions have grown or have popped up and started to grow in size. The biggest competitor to WWE being New Japan Pro Wrestling, which is very popular in Japan. But it has started to make it seen known in the West, where people are looking for a bit better product than what WWE is providing. All to say that a small group of professional wrestlers who worked in New Japan Professional Wrestling, created their own promotion and launched a pay-per-view, which was widely well received, and they have a TV deal set to start in October.
So there's like a new game in town.
Yes, exactly. And I think that has made WWE sort of get their shit together, because on this past Saturday, they have their development brand, NXT, which is some of the best professional wrestling to watch. Like, bar none.
Why?
Work rate.
Mm-hmm.
So these talented athletes doing these amazing stunts. It's not like the headlock for 4 minutes straight.
Right. It's more of a spectacle.
It's very much a spectacle. They have much better storytelling.
Okay.
In ring and out of ring.
All right.
Which helps so much and feeds into who you root for in a match, and like even the despicable heels. You can root for them because you know their story and what they're bringing to it over the shiny baby faces.
Mm-hmm.
So this past Saturday, NXT TakeOver happened, and it was one of the best shows I have seen ever.
Because of the stories, because of the
everything about it. Spoiler alert, this is your homework.
Right.
It's 2.5 hours, so it's a bit, but
there's no way. There's no way.
Honestly, you can just watch some of it.
I'll see what I can do.
Just watch a match for it. Like, that's fine. I don't care. I just need to talk to somebody about this. Like,
okay.
It's so good.
All right.
But yeah, that's pretty much what I did. I wrote a god-awful 2-page story about a secret agent called Jack Action.
Sweet.
That I'm going to have you read.
Yeah.
It's just trash. But I had so much fun watching it, or writing it. And then I also started watching Good Omens.
Oh yeah, Good Omens. Good Omens started. I'm 3 episodes in.
I think I'm 4.
Have you read the book?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite books.
Me too. Everywhere they've diverged from the book so far, I'm so fine with. The casting is amazing.
It's so good.
The chemistry is great. The 3rd episode with all the kind of flashbacks to Aziraphale and Crawley over time has, like, so far been my favorite thing, especially the Noah's Ark scene.
Yeah, your unicorn's getting away. You still got one.
You still got one.
So good.
Gosh, so great.
It's gonna drown babies.
Seems like something our lot would do. It's
so good.
Yeah, it's very
so
charming.
quotable.
Yeah. Yeah, and the Michael Sheen in that farmer makeup, the gardener makeup.
It was so good. Oh my goodness.
Forget it.
I really liked it.
So perfect.
And we can't just quote the entire thing.
Yeah. It's just leaps and bounds more enjoyable for me than American Gods was. So I'm very much on board for that.
Also, it's gotta really hit you well after Inhumans.
Well, that was the thing.
Yeah.
That was the thing that really stopped Inhumans from happening yesterday.
Same.
I watched Good Omens and I was like, I can't go back to that well. You want to jump into homework?
Sure.
You want me to go first?
Yeah.
Okay, so I read Skull Kickers.
Yeah, I'm excited to see how you feel about it.
Well, it was really good, but I don't have that much to say. It's like Vince said, it's like a D&D kind of story with just 2 guys who just are bombing around. There's this one big bald guy with a gun. I didn't really catch their names.
Well, I think they refer to him as Baldy and Shorty.
Mm-hmm. He's this big bald, like kind of like brick shit house. He's got like a revolver type of gun. It doesn't look like... I wouldn't say it's like... it's not like he's got like a gun in a knife fight all the time. The gun's useful, but he's threatened all... There's big monsters, there's tiny goblins, there's evil fairy creatures, there's elven warrior ladies. They're always getting into fights, maybe getting poisoned by some desert people. It's so straightforward. There were desert people that were poisoning them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The term desert people.
Don't wince at me. I'm allowed to say desert people.
That's my word.
By the way, Eid Mubarak, everyone. The thing was, it was really straightforward. It's really good.
Yeah.
But there's no nuance to it.
It's
just
a
story.
Pulp.
Yeah, it's just pulp. It's just a dwarf guy and a big brick shithouse guy kind of leaping from adventure to adventure. They're both lovable.
I agree.
Yeah.
I'm glad that you liked it. Like, I had the thought that when I gave it to you, I was like, I don't know if he wants something more out of a story.
It's thin. No, yeah. I don't need anything more than that. It's not trying to be anything else, which is what I like. It knows
very
what
true
it's
to
doing.
itself.
Yeah. And it's enjoyable. It's funny at times.
Yeah.
It's very like...
I laughed out loud a few panels in. It's
like if Gimli went on an adventure with, I don't know, Punisher, if Punisher just had a revolver and a sense of humor. Just two romping, roaring guys raring for a fight.
It's a romp, right?
Yeah. There's the art kind of like, I mentioned this to you before, it kind of reminds me of Joe Mad a little bit. Not in a good or bad way, just like, hey, if you're into that type of thing, you should check this out. It's very bulky, very, or I forget who did the art for the first couple of story arcs of Cable Deadpool, but it looks like that too. Good book.
Good. I'm glad that you liked it. Okay, so for me, you gave me an episode of Star Trek. I actually watched the first 2 episodes of that season. So it was season 5, episode 4. Season 4, episodes 1 and 2, with the main instance on, what's the story name? Family?
Yeah.
So
Family was your homework specifically, but when we were talking about it later, I said, if you have time, watch the first episode.
Yeah, the preamble definitely.
Yeah, it might help.
Yeah, it definitely solidified the story. So
it's not a show that's serialized that much. Right. Not that often did one thing happen and it affected
leads into another. But I really dug it. So the first episode deals with Captain Picard being taken over by the Borg, and Commander Riker getting promoted to captain and having to fight against his mentor, his friend.
Yeah,
like it definitely resonated in me that like those story beats, which was really cool.
Is this also the episode where Data is a captain? No, that's a different episode. Excuse me. Okay.
So eventually they come up with a plan to steal
Picard back.
That works successfully. They're able to use him to deprogram the Borg, and then they self-destruct.
Yeah. Picard grabs Data's arm and goes, "Sleep, Data."
Yes.
Sleep.
I think he's referring to me.
It's good. It's pretty good, man.
Thanks. It's more Shatner. There's something on the Data. Okay. So the episode ends with Picard getting deborged.
Yeah.
Right. And then Family starts up, and the Enterprise is at Earth because that's where the Borg were going.
Yeah.
And the Enterprise is undergoing repairs.
Yeah.
Yes. So.
And everyone's getting some, what do you call it? When you're some leave time.
Yeah. Yep. So Picard decides to go back to his home village in France.
In France, eh?
And there's also a side story of Worf's parents just moseying about the Enterprise.
Last week, when I was reading the description, I went, "Oh yeah, that's the B story." No, you're gonna watch this one.
Yeah,
because
it was really fun.
Worf's Russian parents.
So
his dad was a chief.
Yeah. Was he a sergeant? I believe
he was a chief. It was like chiefs are like chiefs are like a jack of all trades.
Okay,
like
gotcha.
Scotty probably would have been a chief before he was a chief engineer.
Well, he said that he was an enlisted man.
Yeah.
Okay.
But Worf's dad was from a different time.
Gotcha.
And also they kind of wash over that.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. No worries. Okay. So the major theme of this episode was Picard no longer thinks that he is fit to be captain.
Yeah.
Of
his
the Enterprise.
Ego really got rocked.
Yeah, because it's understandable. He had everything stripped away. I really liked this.
Yeah,
I really liked it. Yeah. His relationship with his brother, how it was strained, and then they had that blowout, and they were able to sort of come together. It's
so good because the thing is, in that show, Picard is so godlike. You know, we don't really know where he comes from. We see him, we're introduced to this man who seems to have all the answers to everything. Mm-hmm. And so to see him in not just this vulnerable place, but also in the place that birthed him, in the place that kind of shaped him. And to see his brother give him what he needed, which I think they both needed in a way. Like, I don't think Robert was being really cold to him to try to manipulate him into expressing himself. I think Robert genuinely is a little pissy at his little brother.
I agree. Yeah. Especially compared to the, like, as you called him, he was a god.
Yeah.
Like, he was the one who broke the rules and got away with it. And, you know, he made so much of himself.
Yeah.
I also really liked that his brother was afraid of technology. Like, afraid of being overtaken, and losing like his family values and things like that.
His brother feels a lot of responsibility to the Picard tradition, which Jean-Luc doesn't at all.
Right, exactly. He's cut the strings.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that is an interesting and actually ultimately the part of Robert that will be his undoing. Yeah. I like that Picard in that story is presented with a B option. I love that. Like, he's on Earth and immediately approached by people.
Exactly.
Like,
he's tapped for the Atlantis project.
If you don't want to go back to the Federation, you know, we could use a man.
Exactly.
Like, I like the idea in this episode of giving him an out and giving him a worthy out, where it's like, you know, you've done your part.
Right.
You know, come on home. You can be part of the family. You can, you know, it's a perfectly good reason for him to, you know, take off. So it's, I don't know. I love, one of my favorite bits of this episode is after the fight and they're in like Chateau Picard.
Right.
And they have blankets on and they're just drinking wine and singing in French with each other.
It is very good, yeah. It's covered in mud, just, you know.
Singing in French. And his, Robert's wife comes in and is like, what's going on? And they start going, they just like brothers, like, well, no, he fell down and then I grabbed him. And then what happened was, and it's so cute.
It is. It's very adorable. And it feels real.
It does. It's classically trained British actors, man. Yeah. You can't.
I agree.
You're never going to get any better. But yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed it. I made you watch that so you could understand why that trailer
for young Picard.
Yeah, it's not young Picard.
Picard goes to college.
Radical dude. Engaged
on my case.
Engaged to party.
Oh god.
So okay, cool. That was our homework. That was our nerdy things we did this week. This was a short one because Inhumans was not interesting to talk about.
No, it was not.
Next week we'll find something better to chew our teeth into.
Yeah, sink our teeth into. Even.
One of those.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Zach, I think that it's time that we end the show.
All right. Well, we'll end it the same way we do every week, which is Vince and I shake hands and leave the Lockjaw! What are you doing here?
Kill me.